people, Joe here again, and I am bringing to you this lovely Ghana Doughnuts. So I started with some flour and baking powder and some salt. You know what? I'm going to put the recipe in the description below. So when you add all the dry ingredients, make sure to mix it well. There we go with the wet ingredients. So I started with some butter and I made sure it was a room temperature butter. I started to mix the butter a bit before adding my sugar, and this is the golden granulated sugar. You can use caster sugar or any of the sugars for baking. It's fine. But I prefer normally using the non-white sugar for baking. And you mix it a bit before you add your eggs. So you can also use a hand mixer, but I don't have it on hand, so I just decided to use my machine because it's easier with that as well. So basically all you're going to check is the sugar has really mixed well, but you don't want it mixing too much like you're going to make some cake or something. So I added the eggs one after the other. It's very important to add them one after the other to try and let each one incorporate very well before adding the other ones. And there you go. And there's going to be a part where I troubleshoot it. So we'll come to that, don't worry. I always say that when you're cooking, you should always be ready to troubleshoot because there are times where you have to troubleshoot. So this is where I was adding the eggs, each after the other. And at this point, I wanted to make sure that the eggs had really mixed well. But as you can see, the mixer isn't going too fast because the more you try to beat it too much, then you're going to overwork the butter, which is batter that you've created. So I checked it, it was okay, and it was time for the flour to go in. So normally I use, sometimes I would use the organic plain flour, and the flour also goes in bit by bit just to check the consistency. So I think this is where I got it a bit wrong because I'm a formulator for hair and skincare products. I always think I can formulate food so easily. So we'll come to that. So what I was going to say something, but I think I've forgotten. Yes, so I use either spelt flour or organic plain flour. So whichever flour that works for you and for your body, I would recommend you try it because I love to try recipes. I love to try new recipes, put together recipes, and create food and also hair and skincare products. So here, I mixed everything together, but so I'm going to put the right amount of flour that you can use. So what I did was, at this point, I was adding my milk, and this is plant-based milk that I make at home. It's cashew milk with Brazil nut. I would normally make the plant-based milk for the kids to make smoothies with them. So you can use any milk that you want. And if you want to know how to make the milk, it's on the website. If you search for cashew milk, it will come up. So my butter here if I'm talking about butter, it's the batter. Here was too soft, or I would say too loose. And this is the vanilla. And this is real vanilla that I use. It's in a powder form, and you can see how it becomes. So it's like it gives you this tiny vanilla in the cake or whatever you're baking. It's nice. So at this point the butter was too loose, so I had to troubleshoot at a point. And I'm bringing it all to you guys so you know, because when you watch, let's say you read a recipe from a book and you try to make it and it doesn't work, you might beat yourself to it, but sometimes you just have to try and, think about what went wrong and then troubleshoot it. So for me, I would normally, let's say, I love cookbooks, and also sometimes when I see photos, I can just make something up with whatever I have. So here the butter was too loose, as I said. So you see how it's falling into the oil. So I was like, this isn't how I think it should, because I've made puff puff before, and I know the consistency is a bit, soft, but then not too soft that it's when you put it in the oil, it doesn't really form any shape. So hubby came to help, and he was like, okay. So he showed me how some people put it in there using the fingers, and he was like, maybe there's something wrong with the butter. So I said, you know what? I think maybe I added too much milk. So let me try adding more flour. See how it got bent? Oh my goodness. This was, so I tried adding some flour. I even forgot to show you guys adding the flour to the butter. And now it worked. The moment of truth. I was like, oh my goodness, I've done it. I love donuts, but I haven't really gotten myself to make them. I usually buy it for myself and the kids. So doing it today was, I was so happy. And troubleshooting it, I just felt like, let me show it to these guys, and for them to know that sometimes when you're cooking, it doesn't go as you plan. But then when you troubleshoot it, you know what you have to do. Then you become so happy because it turned out so well. And I was so happy. Yeah, I was very happy. Now it's forming a shape and becoming golden, not burning. Oh, I'll put the recipe in the description below, guys, for you. So at this point, I was very, very happy. So happy because it was turning out. And I was saying, yay, I've done it. I've done it. I've done it. I've done it. I'm going to try. I have a recipe for puff puff, which has been a long time. My sister-in-law wrote it for me. She is a caterer, so she's very, very good when it comes to all these baking and all that. So I'm going to try puff puff one of these days because that's what hubby likes. I like the donuts and he likes the puff puff. So I'll try it. You see him coming to, and here he gave me a kiss. He said, "Oh, you've done it." Oh, it's his birthday, by the way. So, like, let me make these donuts for you. And he said, "Oh, you see, you didn't make puff puff for me. I like puff puff." I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna make puff puff for you." Yeah. By the way, I was so elated. I was so happy that it's turning up so well. So you see, he was showing me how the hand is like, how they put it in. Yeah. Anyway, It's nice. Well, it's so nice to know that you want to make something and you've done it. You've done you become so happy that you've done it. Yeah. See me turning it around. So at this point, I was taking them out of the oil, and you see how golden it is. You can even make it lighter. I mean, this is too big. That's what I realized. So next time, I'm gonna make them small because the ones I buy are mostly very tiny, very very small. So next time, I'm gonna make them very very small. And usually I would keep them in the freezer because when I keep them on the table, it means maybe it's going to go too fast because remember, this is butter and oil and all that. So I'm normally particular about it. So I stopped baking because of that, because I've gained a bit of weight since the COVID time. So now I'm a bit particular about baking, but sometimes I just love to bake for them. See how burnt it was, the first one. So never give up in life. Just keep going, because the more you go and the more you troubleshoot all that you have been dreaming for and also yearning for will come to pass. Yeah. And I'm so happy. I am so happy that it turned out well in the end. So there it is here. Thank you guys for watching. If you're new here, please do well to subscribe to the channel. And also, for those who are subscribed, we thank you so much for your support and for the love. Click the bell for notification and like our videos. So stay tuned for the next video. We love you so much. Thank you. Bye.